Now that Black Ops 4 is free to play on PlayStation 5 with the PlayStation Plus membership, of course, because nothing is truly free in life anyways, I've been jumping back on the BO4 bandwagon just to specifically, see what I remember and what I've missed. And when this game was in its prime, it just didn't click with me, and ironically, I think this game has the second most playtime I've ever put into a COD title. But I think I now know what the problem with Black Ops 4 was, and I think it's because I finally understand the value of having something good being taken away from you and then have it evolve into something less than. Because when I play Black Ops 4 now, I can genuinely say without a doubt this is one of the best Call of Duties ever made. And yes, you can make fun of me for liking the game after the life cycle while shitting on the current COD. I know I'm complicit, and I will get to that, but let's start from the beginning. With the advent of Modern Warfare 2019 and Black Ops Cold War, I think it's safe to say that the landscape has drastically changed. The way this game is designed is really attempting to reach a new audience, a new generation of COD players, if you will. And that's okay. Good things don't last forever, and I'm fine with that. But when you hop on Black Ops 4 and compare it to the CODs we have now, it truly is a night and day difference. Yeah, Black Ops 4 is a little slower, and it's not nearly as smooth as these newer titles, but the multiplayer feels so much more like COD was designed to be. When you play the zombies mode, it still has the remnants of escaping to an ever-expanding and magical world full of secrets, whereas now, everything is just on a base. Well, except for Mauer der Toten, obviously, that map is literally amazing. The other zombies maps are really just uninspired and not very lively, if you know what I'm saying. And the multiplayer mode is an empty vast of nothingness, and then there is Warzone, which is really just a hacker's wet dream at this point. Now, I know I've kind of ripped on the new titles, and to be fair, I do like them somewhat, but not nearly in the same way as I enjoyed the older CODs, and I think I finally understand why. There is absolutely nothing to do in the new Call of Duties. Black Ops 4 had perfected the traditional COD formula, and then Activision threw it all away when Modern Warfare 2019 came out. Before we get into why I'm saying that, I want to explain first that it took a long time for Black Ops 4 to get to this perfection, and the game was a disaster at launch. But this is a problem with all CODs. We pay Activision to let us access their COD beta, and then we watch as Treyarch and Sledgehammer Games and Infinity Ward build a game for an entire year. It's honestly the biggest grift in history, and all while we're paying them to do it. And for good reason. The gunplay is the best in the biz. Maybe I'll make a video on that later in the future, but for now, let's talk about Black Ops 4. BO4 finally perfected the traditional COD system that we were used to, but it happened way too late. This game literally had everything. The campaign, if you can even call it that, was really weak, but for the sake of argument, let's say it was at least present. We also had a traditional multiplayer with specialists instead of operators. We had the most flushed out zombies mode we have ever received, 4 maps at launch, 8 in total, 3 game modes, DLC weapons, dark matter to grind for, all with deep quests and boss fights and cutscenes except for classified. And then there was Blackout, Treyarch's first attempt at a battle royale, and while I sucked donkey balls at it, it was 100 times better than Warzone. The lore, the weapons, the gadgets, the specialists, and the characters that Treyarch had created over the years allowed for one of the biggest sandbox modes ever to be made. It was epic. The problem with all of these things that I've just listed is that it was hilariously ambitious, and there were so many issues in development causing the game to be rushed, and it was a broken mess at launch. This caused people to blame the content rather than the dev cycle, and people put the game down way early instead of recognizing it just needed more time in the oven. And more time in the oven it received. Over the next year, Treyarch finally developed the perfect COD, and we will never see anything like this again. So while content-wise, this game was packed to the brim, except for the campaign, which that got cut because of overambition and Activision and all this stuff, we could have fixed that in the next title. It's a non-issue really, but what else allowed this game to be quote-unquote perfect is the monetization system. Now let me say, during the life cycle, the monetization system was utter trash. I hated it so much. It was one of the worst we had ever seen in the history of Call of Duty. But once the game's life cycle ended, and if fans were patient, they could reap rewards unlike any COD fan could ever imagine. Unlike the CODs of today, i.e. Modern Warfare 2019, Black Ops Cold War, there was a game first and then cosmetics second. Whereas now, the in-game shop is the primary focus, and then we get an itty teeny bitty little baby game attached to it. Yeah, that's the games now. Thanks, Activision. And if you haven't played Black Ops 4, I urge you to to do so. The game is super fun and you can get everything in the game absolutely for free, except for like the DLC map packs, but everything else in the game is earnable. All right, let me break down how the monetary system worked towards the end of Black Ops 4's life cycle. Since there were both loot crates and a battle pass, you would buy into the battle pass and you could earn loot crates from playing, or you could pay to get loot crates to unlock camos, weapons, skins, whatever, and your chances were slim just like normal with any traditional loot crate system. However, you could not outright buy anything in the game like you can now. It was only earnable through random chance. And I know you're thinking, damn, that sucks. And yeah, it did. But then Treyarch changed it so you could take all of your saved loot crates and trade them in for DLC weapons. They also added in a triple duplicate protection system, which they could do better on that, I'll be honest, but it was still present. So then you would actually stop getting repeat weapons and you would actually get the weapons and items that you needed. And imagine if they expanded this traditional loot crate system to be able to trade in for all of the cosmetic camos and mastercrafts and all sorts of stuff like that. It would have been freaking sweet. This was just the beginning. And between all the contracts and the tier skips and the modes to play, your potential to earn items was really on you. And that's how it should be. If you played every mode inside of Black Ops 4 daily, you could earn up to 3 tier skips inside of the battle pass and upwards of 15 loot crates, which you can trade in for the DLC weapons. I know it takes only about 50 reserve crates to unlock a DLC weapon, so that's about 3 days, 4 days max of playtime. Plus you're earning a ton of other stuff along the way, like merits for Blackout and all of the Nebulium Plasma for the Elixir system inside of the zombie mode. I mean, it was just incredibly fair. And if you really want to, you can outright buy the weapon for 20 bucks. And once you get all of the DLC weapons unlocked, you can still play and earn all of the camos, reactive camos, mastercrafts, Treyarch designed specifically for that year. And man, there were some awesome pieces in there. All of this earnable for free. There were 2 primary systems occurring at the same time. And to be honest, I think that's the way to go, because now all I have to do is pay for COD points with my credit card and I get whatever I want. And it's not satisfying or worthwhile at all. For once, when gamers complain about there being nothing to do in a COD game, they're right. Sure, yeah, there are in-game events and that happens every once in a while and that's great, but they always give lackluster rewards because they want to save the good stuff for the shop. And in a way, I even understand that, because if people are paying cash for items, you got to give them the good stuff, so then the free stuff ends up being worse just because you have to satisfy one group who wants to pay for this content. In a sense, I know that Treyarch is screwed because the higher ups at Treyarch and Activision, they're the ones that are making this decision. But to be honest, when you're playing a game just to play it, you have to have passion for it. And COD is a great game and I do have passion for it, but I also want to be rewarded for that passion. I think it would be amazing if Treyarch would implement some sort of system that would allow players to earn COD points so that they can earn weapons from the shop instead of just paying for them in the shop. Now, I do have to say that I enjoy the fact that DLC weapons are free now and it takes a couple challenges to unlock, but imagine if that system was across the board with everything and you could pick and choose which things you wanted to grind for or purchase outright. Give the options to the player. Do not force it upon us. Now, everything I've stated is all fine and good, and we can blame big corporations and yell at big bad Activision, but there's only one group of people to blame the most, and that's us, the COD fan. We have complained so much about the loot box system, and those complaints combined with the Fortnite Battle Pass and the in-game shop systems, we're seeing the new era of COD and the shape that it's gonna take for years to come. And in our defense, the loot box system that was implemented into our COD games, Advanced Warfare, BO3, IW, World War II, and Black Ops 4, they were all pretty atrocious, except for World War II was actually pretty fair. You could earn a lot of that stuff for free. But Activision, they just ripped us off in a different way. But once the life cycle of Black Ops 4 wrapped up and we were able to finally see the game for what it really was, you know, once the dust had settled, there was a classic COD under there with great maps, great modes, great guns, and most importantly, a fair and earnable monetary system that did not prey on the player. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video with your friends. My name is Skeptics, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.